Hello, it's Tom with Digital Foundry, and this is No Man's Sky running on PS4. Now, we haven't seen a game quite like this generation, an engine that relies on voxels and procedural generation to create an open-ended, unique journey for every player. And for a frame rate test, there's simply no telling what you'll find out there that we haven't. But that being said, we played enough of No Man's Sky's opening few hours on patch 1.03 to get a flavour of how the game's mechanics all come together. So let's dive in with the basics. The PS4 version runs at a native 1080p resolution and commits itself to a 30 frames per second cap with VSync engaged. And you know what? For any on-foot action across our very first randomly generated world, we struggle to find any drops at all. And this is really pushing the envelope here, a planet high in flora and fauna, absolutely filled to the brim with tropical trees, hills and wildlife. But even with this incredible density of detail, there wasn't much more than one single frame drop from 30 FPS across an hour of play. Whether that's shooting chunks through terrain or sprinting around full pelt, that 30 FPS target is really well met on PS4, and from the 12 planets we've discovered so far, it doesn't appear to matter what climates or weather conditions are in play either. Now, the only slight downside to this cap is the lack of motion blur to back it, or at least an option in this case, to make the panning motions on your camera appear a little smoother. But that's a nitpick. Sure enough, we can expect higher frame rates on PC, but for PS4 we're getting an evenly frame-paced delivery at a straight 30 FPS. At least that goes for one half of the game, the on-foot sections where you spend most of your time exploring, but the other half is spent in your ship, and this is where the game's engine is tested. Now, for the most part you'll again be hitting a flat 30 FPS here, even in complex, vibrant areas like our opening planet. Basically, anything that's been procedurally generated in advance runs well to a certain point, and the same usually goes for fast travelling through space. But big drops do kick in when you really stress the engine, notably with fast movement near the ground in your aircraft. For example, frame rates can plummet once you land on a brand new planet and then immediately boost across its surface. In this case, PS4 is struggling to meet the 33.3 millisecond render time for a frame while generating new scenery and details on the fly. These are calculations made a split second before revealing the new terrain or object, and when it can't keep up we see dips to the 20 frames per second line like this, and sometimes even lower. Now, this is something we have seen in previous demos of No Man's Sky, and it's still clearly an issue for the final build. Curiously, it doesn't necessarily come down to the complexity of the environment, and even a largely waterlogged area like this has the game running at 15 FPS. This lasts as long as you continue pressing the engine and keep boosting full speed in one direction. But once you double back on yourself with a full 180 turn or even slow down, suddenly we're back to an even 30 FPS again. From here, the frame rate issues disappear once you start moving. So there's an easy fix, but why is this happening? Well, the procedurally generated approach to world creation in No Man's Sky is more often than not CPU driven. Everything has to be calculated ad hoc. These drops are essentially a trade-off for not having any loading times and letting everything render in seamlessly. It's a distraction for sure when it happens, but equally it does take a very deliberate course of action to make it happen. Bringing the game back to 30 FPS is also easy, and overall it's worth putting up with to enjoy the game's unique, seamless approach to exploration. These are exceptional moments though, and most of the game unfolds at a faultless 30 FPS. It's a remarkable game so far, astoundingly taking up just 3.69GB on the PS4's hard drive due to its minimal use of scripted or pre-made assets. It's really the algorithm that does all the hard work, and we're looking forward to seeing just how much more varied our discoveries get as we go. Anyway, I hope that gives you a flavour of what to expect performance-wise. If you found this useful, please do give us a like or subscribe below, and until next time, thanks for watching.